How's it going, everybody? JP here, and welcome to the second annual 31 Days of Horror. This is where I review 31 horror movies in 31 days, every day of the October month. And I did this last year. That's why it's the second annual. A lot of you guys are probably new around here since then because I've definitely grown as a channel since then. Probably two or three times the size of subscribers as I had back then. So I did this last year. I ended up, being delayed a little bit towards the end. It was really hard to watch and review a movie every single day. Um, so I wasn't sure if I was gonna do it this time because this year because I got a new job and stuff, and I know I'm just gonna be uh, I'm most likely gonna end up behind at some point in time in this, but I decided to just say the hell with it and give it a try, and it should be fun, and I'm definitely gonna try to keep up. So I apologize ahead of time when the reviews end up being delayed or whatever, but I'll get them up eventually. Yeah, so, I would love if anybody would join in on this if you happen to see the video. I know last year I actually got the idea from another YouTuber, Philly2K. I think he's doing it again this year. And I believe Steve, Shock Extreme 1, did this last year too. There was a few people doing this, and, definitely wasn't my idea. I've seen people do this for years. So, with that little intro said, I guess I'm gonna hop into day one's review. And day one is a film that is kind of recent, and it is Lords of Salem. And this is a Rob Zombie film. It has the tagline of Heretic, Witch, Devil. And this is a film from the year 2012. Released on Blu-ray recently, I believe, maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something. It was pretty recent. Um, so yeah, this film, it follows Sherry Moon Zombie's character, who is kind of a recovering drug addict, and she works as a DJ at a radio station, a co-host, and she works with two other people, one named Whitey, and one is played by Ken Foree, who is, fantastic. Love seeing him in anything, even Rob Zombie's films. And one day she gets a mysterious wooden box, and it's addressed to her. It's basically a record, and when they play it, she gets, feeling kind of nauseous, headaches, and they play it on the air. She gets these weird flashback things. And basically, it's set in Massachusetts, and it's basically about the Salem witch trials in the 1600s, I believe. Um, and it has to do with the ancestors of the original Salem witches, and it has flashbacks to when the witch trials were happening, and the witches were being burned alive, and basically she is tangled up in the history of the witches, and I think I'll kind of leave it off at that. um, this film, I really liked it. I really did. It is a very visual film. There's a lot of imagery that's used in the film, and I think Rob Zombie may have went a little overboard with some of it. Um, kind of touching that white horse angle in Halloween 2. Maybe a little too bizarre on some things, but maybe a little bit too out there. But it is a different film. It's supposed to be kind of like this, and it definitely has some very interesting and fun to look at, camera shots and stuff like that. Um, this film, it was definitely filmed, very well, scored very well. I think it was acted very well too. I know a lot of people don't like Sherry Moon Zombie. I really don't see it. I really don't. I think she's great, and I liked her character a lot. I liked the way she looked. I liked the way um, there's a scene where there's these three uh, elderly ladies who are, I believe one of them might be her landlord or something, and they're having a conversation about fate and destiny. And I thought that scene just worked so well, and the difference between fate and destiny. And I thought Sherry Moon Zombie did great in that scene as well. Like, that's one of the reasons why I thought it shined. Um, Also, this film, I love how it was not what I was expecting. You get the idea of witches and the Salem witch trials, and you get those, based on the synopsis, you get an idea. You start playing this film out in your head of what kind of movie it's going to be, and it really was nothing like I was thinking. And he could have easily went to the typical witch Salem witch trials story, because the story's been done over and over again. But he didn't. He did something completely different, and I love how this film does end a bit abruptly. But I think that at first I was a little bit mad, like right away I was like, "What? It's over?" And then there's kind of like I won't give away too much, but I kind of thought about it a bit and I processed it and I was like, you know what? I really liked that ending because it was just not what I was expecting. It was different and it just worked really well. It seemed to fit with the story. And that's another thing. I think the story is actually a good story. It's different from what I was expecting. I know I said that a few times, but it really was. That's what I think I liked most about this movie. Um, and I've heard there's definitely some influence from films like The Shining in here. Um, I think the casting, like all of you see the familiar faces that you see in Rob Zombie's films. I know a lot of people hate that, but I don't see why. They work. They're awesome. They fit well. They are good actors. They're fun to watch. I like seeing everybody, including Sherry Moon Zombie. I know that pisses a lot of people off, but I do. Um, there's just I really did like this one. I don't really know what else to say about it without actually getting into specific things. There's one scene where that has to do with like intestines or something, and it really kind of grossed me out. I think some like there are some negatives, and I touched on a bit how I think some of the weirdo imagery might have went a bit too far. But another thing is, I think there was some like failed attempts at like scares. There's like some scenes where there's like some witches like standing in the background, and it just didn't really work for me. And it should have. That's the thing, because it should have worked. Because that's supposed to be scary and that's supposed to work. It just didn't for me. But the witches look awesome. They look like what I would think a creepy old naked witch would look like. There's a lot of naked. It's weird that this is an R. I would have thought that this would have been an unrated edition, because there is a lot of weird sexual stuff in here, and a lot of nudity. Um, but yeah, I thought everybody did great. The three elderly ladies I thought did awesome. Dee Wallace is one of them. Um, I could really, I did talk to Moods about this one for a little bit, and by a little bit, I mean like half hour, 45 minutes, and we really got into it, and I wish I could sit here and do that right now, but I don't really want to get into the actual, plot, because it's kind of a surprising story, I guess. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of The Lords of Salem if you've seen it, and I would rate this film a strong 8 out of 10. I really did enjoy it, and oh, also, I love the radio angle thing. I love when they do that in films, when they have the uh, local radio thing going on, and their co-host DJ things. It's just cool to me, and you know I just really like this one. So, Lords of Salem, 8 out of 10. Check it out, and I'll see you guys on day 2.